Hello everyone, Daniel here from Team Dice Jar. We've got a skirmish event coming up on the 27th of March, and we thought it would be a great idea to make a quick sealed guide to help everyone through the weekend. Today we'll be talking about the 4 heroes, opening 6 packs, and building a sealed deck together. Alright, so here are our packs. We've got 6 of them, and we'll start opening them. It's a great idea to sort the cards as you go, so we've only got 30 minutes to build our deck. So we'll start putting the generics into piles. Got lots of reds in this pack, which is good, and a Hope Merchant's Hood equipment. Got a rare Steelblade Shunt and a super rare Sand Sketch Plan, which are good cards for Warrior and Brute. Then have a Foil Guardian card, Cartilage Crush, which is a good one, Buckling Blow. For Guardian, we're looking for lots of blues so that we can pay for their expensive attacks. And for Brute, we're looking for lots of 6 power attacks. We've only got 1 ninja card in this pack, but it's a red league tap, which is one of the best ninja cards that we can get. So definitely don't want to count that out too yet. Blue Raging Onslaught is one of my favourite cards. It's a blue block 3 that can come in for a lot of damage. And same with Wounded Bull. These big attacks can slot into a lot of decks, and they're really useful. Got some armor for the legs, and another great card. This is an energy potion. It lets us pay for things and store energy for further turns down the line. We've got a Staunch Response, which is a great Guardian defense reaction. Another Wounded Bull. We've got Debilitate, and we've got another great red Rising Knee Thrust, which combos with our red leg tap. So even though we don't have many ninja cards yet, the ones that we have are fantastic. We do have some good warrior cards too. Between the red Driving Blade and the yellow Shunt. Yellow Sink Below is fantastic. That's going to make it into our deck pretty much no matter what we play. And just some more blues, which is useful. Nimblism is great if we run a low to the ground deck. And Goliath Gauntlet is fantastic for pretty much any deck that has an attack action with cost 2 or more. So you use this and you just basically smash your opponent with something big. Got a blue Flick Flack, which is fantastic. The ninja cards we're getting are insane. We just need more of them. Red Flock the Featherwalkers is fantastic in a number of decks that want go again. Really good Guardian cards too. Blue Hedgehog. Brute Savage Swing. Driving Blade. Another blue leg tap. And Sharpened Steel and a Cracked Bauble. So if we don't get 30 cards, we're going to have to include these in our deck, which is really not what we want, because this card is terrible. You can't block with it, you can't play it, it pitches and it will kill you at the end of the game if it's stuck in your hand. So you really want to hit 30 cards. More good generics. Blue Scarf Scar is fantastic. It only blocks 2, but it can come in for 2 damage with go again and can slot into almost any deck. So it's a great playable to have. Same with Flock the Featherwalkers. It's can give you go again on your next turn, so super useful, and it combos great with Razor Reflex. Got Barkbone Strapping, which is brilliant for Brute. Time Snap Potion gives us basically just gives us an extra action point on a turn that we need it. So if we have something like a Flock of the Featherwalkers or a big attack and we can follow it up, it's like really powerful. Sigil Solace is a great card that will go in pretty much every deck that we play. Just gaining life is so invaluable. We have a Wrecker-Romp, 2 Wrecker-Romps, which are some of the best attacks for Brute. We have 2 yellow Ninja Zero Cost. So from the cards I've pulled so far, I'm really leaning into Ninja. Just the cards that we've pulled are very strong. And it works really well with some of the generics that we've pulled. I think Guardian is pretty up there too, with some of the blue block 3s that we've got and a couple red attacks. Got another blue 0 cost card that we can use to enable our Kodachis. We've got a yellow Razor Reflex and a yellow Unmovable and an Iron Rock Gauntlet. Oh wow, Brute pack. This pack's great. So if we were to go Brute, yellow Savage Feast and red Breakneck Battery are definitely going into the deck. Breakneck Battery is fantastic because you can attack with it, discard a card, intimidate, and then with one more resource you can come in with the club for 5, and it's just such a brutal turn. Disable is fantastic. It's like Command and Conquer and Sealed. Very good. Smash Instinct and Primeval Bellow for Brute. Nature's Path and Red Biting Blade are fantastic for Warrior. 2 Open the Centers, which are not the ninja cards I'm currently looking for, but good nonetheless. We've got our last pack. See if we can pull anything spicy. We've got a Red Scarf Scar, which is amazing. This will go into anything. It's a really powerful offensive card. Got Barraging Brawnhide, another Flock, and Yellow Winding Ball. These are really good generics. Got an Iron Rot Helm, and this is one of the best cards in Sealed because it basically keeps a threat in your deck forever. So you can never run out of basically an attack. So like 1 or 2 of these makes your deck way stronger, and you can run less cards as well because you can block with it and it'll go back to the bottom of your deck. Whoa, alright. Tome of Fendel is also a really useful card. Can gain you life, and we have a Time Snap Potion to combo with it, which is going to be really interesting. I think this is definitely going to fit in. Without the Time Snap Potion, it'd be quite hard to give go again. I think it loses a lot of the value, but because we have the Time Snap Potion, I think this could be really sweet in a ninja deck. Got Savage Feast and Primeval Bellow, which are pretty good. We've got more guiding cards. Brute, Stroke of Foresight, Lead Tap, and Stroke of Foresight. Alright, so that is the cards that we've pulled. So of all the classes, I think like Ninja is the one that stood out to me the most. So what we're looking at mostly here is the amount of blue cards we have, namely the blue 0 costs. We've got 1 in Hijab, 1 in Flick Flack. Now what would have been amazing is if we got some Surging Strikes. We didn't quite get any. But I'm quite set on this Time Snap Tome of Fendel. I think that could make for a really interesting deck. So we're looking for quite a few blue 0 costs so that we can Kodachi pretty much every turn. Because that's where a lot of the power of the deck comes from, is just chipping your opponent down constantly. So all these cards currently are 0 cost cards. And I think we've got enough. Cool. Yeah, definitely going Ninja. But let's just have a quick look at some of the other ones and explain why I'm not going into them. So Warrior, we have some really powerful cards. The big ones are the Red Stroke of Foresight, the Red Sharpened Steel, and the Red Driving Blade. But I've found from personal experience that Warrior is one of the hardest classes to build because a lot of the decks are just naturally very good against Warrior. So Warrior, you kind of need to get real, exceptionally good pulls, I think, to do really well with it. Not that you can't do well with it, but I think it's the class that's most reliant on its class cards. We've got Brute. Brute works really well with Pummels and Sorgasms, which we didn't really get many of. So it kind of pulled me away from it. But there are some really good class cards in here, and we did get the Brute equipment, which is really strong. And for Guardian, we have actually a really strong Guardian pool, and this would be really tempting if we didn't get such good ninja cards. Alright, so for the ninja deck, back to the ninja deck, I'm just going to move some of these other cards out of the way. We have to look through our generics. So I'm going to play the Tome Fendel. I think it could be for a really big gotcha when you gain 3 or 4 life and a deck with Drone of Brutality, so you can actually fatigue them really easily with Drone, Sigil Solace, and Tome Fendel. It's a lot of life to get through in this format because you've only got so many powerful attacks. So we're probably looking to block a decent amount, so we do want a good number of cards that can block for 3 or more, or at least more than 2. And we do want powerful reds as well, so that we can be aggressive if we get the opportunity. So the game plan is mostly just going to be Darchi and then another attack. So anything that works with that is going to go into our deck. Nimble Strike is a fantastic card because it can push through a lot of damage, but we do need some Nimbleisms, which we have a blue one of here and a yellow one. So the way it works is if you played the Nimbleism, it goes to the graveyard, and then later on if you play the Nimble Strike, even like immediately after it, you can banish the Nimbleism to give it +1 and go again, which means you're coming in for 5 with go again, and that's like, it's better than Leg Tap, which is a really good card. And that can put you over the top in a lot of scenarios. So then the big combo that we pulled was Leg Tap, Rising Knee Thrust, and Blackout Kick. So if we get these 2 cards together, or Katsu gets us one of them, that's just going to kill people straight up. That's 4 + 5 + 7 damage in 1 turn off 2 resource. So if we ever get to do that, that will just win us the game, pretty much on the spot. Got a yellow Leg Tap, which again we can use with our Rising Knee Thrust combo. And the blue Leg Tap as well, that we can use, just if our opponent somehow lets us through. And with that, I think the deck is starting to look really good. So we're just going to count the number of cards we've got. So I count 26 cards. So we need a few more playables to put into the deck. So Open the Center is a blue that blocks 3, which is always great. That's really what you want. Scour the Battlescape is an excellent card. So it's a 3 attack for a red, which seems a bit underwhelming, but if you play it from your arsenal, you get to filter, like exactly like Sink Below, and it has go again. So at the end of the game, if you can start off with a Scour the Battlescape and force a block, you're following Darchies, and then something else, you can really put the pressure on your opponent. And then because we've got a lot of blues, I think we can play a Raging Onslaught, just to really put the hurt on our opponent. So I think we need one more card. I think we can play... So we have another blue block 3, but we want to keep most of our blues to have 0 cost. And we're already running 2 that aren't 0 cost. So I'm kind of effing and ahhing about that one. I think we have enough blues to play an Unmovable, so this is going to really help us against Guardian and Brute, and even Warrior, because they're going to attack us with a big attack, and we're going to respond from Arsenal with an Unmovable for 7, and it's going to cost us 2 cards, and then on our turn we can just pitch a blue, Darchi back, and then attack with something else, and we're going to be sweet as. It makes, when you have this in Arsenal, it just makes you so much safer, and it makes your opponent really struggle to interact with what you're doing. And for the last card, I think it has to be Yellow Flock out of these cards. So, that's the deck I built. if you guys have any ideas for what you would have done. I think this deck is going to be really strong. It has this interaction with Tome Fendel, Time Snap, Potion, so you're going to be able to draw 2 cards, gain 3 or 4 life, and then have like a 3 or 4 card hand to just blast people with. You've got an Energy Potion, which is going to help you in the late of the game. We have a really strong combo in Leg Tap, Rising Thrust, Blackout Kick that can just kill people. We have the Drone and the Sigil for outlasting our opponent. I think this deck could actually win an event, so I think it's really strong. Alright, now we've got owner of Jar Games, Greg. He's going to ask me a few questions about my deck and about the upcoming Skirmish tournament.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daniel. So, first question, how many 0-cost cards would you recommend for a ninja build in Sealed?
Alright, so the red 0 costs we're not really going to be pitching, so they don't count towards our number really. So, ideally we want to Kadachi every single turn, because it's going to put a lot of pressure and it's going to leak damage onto our opponent so that we can get them closer to 0 and win the game. So to get that Kadachi every turn, we want enough blues to ideally draw 1 every single turn. So about a third of our deck should be either blue block 3s or blue cost 0s or yellow cost 0s, so that we can keep Kadachiing, and then the blue ones are better because we can play something else afterwards that costs 1.
Sweet.
Yeah, about 10.
Perfect. All right. How many ninja cards would you recommend pulling to decide whether or not you're going to be playing ninja?
So ninja is one of the more versatile classes because a lot of the generics slot really well. Ninja can play the go low cards that cost 1 or less, but it can also play the go tall cards, like the Raging Onslaught, for example, can really catch people off guard. But it's good to have a lot of ninja attacks because they combo together well and they're just really efficient. They have go again and you can chain them. But if you really don't pull that many and the generics aren't really quite there, you can start looking at another class, because you should hopefully have pulled more of different class cards.
Sweet. What are the main generic cards you should be looking for and why?
Alright, so Sync Belows are a big one because they make you a lot safer. The blues and yellows can pitch for Kadachis, and they can basically protect against Dominate and Warrior attack reactions. Another one you can look for is Scar for Scar, just because it's super efficient. It attacks for 4, has go again, and the potions as well are super good because they can pitch for Kadachis as well.
Sweet. Would you say it's worth playing more than 30 cards in Welcome to Rathe Sealed format?
I think most decks should. It's a lot of the times it is quite easy to just not have quite enough damage to get through and kill your opponent, and you start running out of cards. And if you're in that situation, your opponent happens to have a Drone of Brutality, you're in a really bad spot. So I recommend you try and hit 35, 36 cards. If you have a Drone of Brutality, you can play a little bit less. And if you're playing Brute, I recommend you play even a little bit more than that, because you're going to be discarding some of your attacks.
Sweet. And my final question is, what are your predictions for the upcoming Skirmish event at Jar Games at the end of the month?
Okay, so I think the finals will be between a Dunedin player and an Auckland player, and I predict that Matt Rogers will be beaten by a Dunedin player in the sealed event.
Nice. Do you think that Dunedin player will be you?
Oh, I hope so. But we've got a lot of great players down here, and I think they're all rearing for their chance to get at the king.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daniel. That was brilliant.
No worries. Had a good time.